flex on the chin. Just keep your head down and carry on. You fight like hell, turn the other cheek. It's what separates the strong from the weak. And that's just the way that the line gets drawn. You gotta keep on living till the fight is gone.
Hey guys, welcome to 10-Minute Misconduct. We are an unofficial FPHL podcast. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I want to introduce our host. This is Lee.
Hey, everybody.
And we have Ed.
Hello, how are ya?
And of course,
Welcome to our show.
Of course, we have Taylor, who's with us sometimes, and he will be joining us for the interview this evening. We were supposed to have Jay Krupp on tonight, but he got called up to the SPHL, so congrats to Jay. We are going to try to reschedule with him, so hopefully in maybe a week or two, we will have an episode with Jay. So what's going on in the Fed, guys?
Crazy weather, man. What? Let's talk about that weather.
Yeah, apparently blizzards aren't a big deal for this league.
And that this is the fines threatened or suspensions over non-travel due to conditions that they were we saw something like they were trying to skirt around the bus rules and make them use their own cars to go to these arenas.
Yeah, New York State.
Am I right about that?
New York State had a commercial vehicle ban for pretty much the entire state, and buses are commercial vehicles. So their answer was, well, drive your own personal vehicles, and if you don't go, you're going to be suspended. We're going to fine your team. I think the report was $20,000. But I personally am very proud to say that we as fans, the hockey family, stepped up from every team, and hopefully we put enough pressure on the league, and they did postpone the game. They postponed another 2 games that week. They postponed that, and then I think the Watertown game on Tuesday night was postponed as well.
That's one goddamn shitty decision to make. Put your life in danger or get fined. What the fuck's up with that?
Every professional league in North America canceled their games up in that area ahead of time, but the FPHL, apparently, they're like, nope, we want the money.
Even in Canada, the GOJHL, league-wide, all 26 teams canceled right the night before for the whole weekend, But I guess PHL wants to, tough it out somehow. What do you think, Dana?
I was really glad to see the amount of fans. I know at least on the pages that we hang out on, and not just our own Trash Talk page, but I saw people commenting on Bench Miner and Miner Pro Hero and just people from every team. I thought it was amazing that, we put hockey aside as much as we love it, but like player safety, family safety, staff safety, that is the most important thing, because there's so much more going on besides, like, the players are important, the coach is important, but there's a lot of other people involved that makes hockey happen for us, and every one of them is just as important as the next one. So shout out to the fans. You guys kicked ass, because I feel like they hurt us. I mean, they ended up postponing it, and I think it had a lot to do with the fact that we were all really bitching at them, and at least they did the right thing. So I'm glad that it worked out the way it did.
So every single fan in this league needs to pat themselves on the back.
Yes, but to take their own cars and put themselves at risk, some of these players only get what, $1.25 a week and all that stuff at most, and I don't think that's enough. That's not even enough for a shot of tramadol, in some hospitals, But yeah, so
it's like Trav, our guest today. He's only making $500 a month. That's not worth $500 a month to risk your life driving your own car. Pardon my language, to play a fucking hockey game. Give me a break.
Right. That's like a copay. That's like a hospital copay, $500. Depends where you go.
Seriously, well, their whole month's salary is the copay for their insurance if they crash their car to get their damn car fixed.
You have hospital copay and now your vehicle deductible. So now you're in the hole.
Exactly.
Well, maybe the fans can be heard to get these guys. Maybe we can bump up that pay a little bit. I mean, anything.
Right.
But with that being said, let's welcome Travis Ridgen to the show. We are super excited to have him on today.
Welcome.
All right, guys, we are very happy to welcome our next guest. You might know him on YouTube as Trav for Oilers. He's also a host of the Slangin' the Biscuit Bot podcast. Here we got from the Motor City Rockers, Travis Ridgen. Trav, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Lee. It's a privilege to be on the 10 Minute Misconduct podcast with you guys. Looking forward to a good conversation tonight.
Welcome.
Cool, great.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, me and you, I've been following your blog since your Vancouver, was it Vancouver Island, was it?
Yeah, Vancouver Island University, back at in Nanaimo in the BCI days.
Yeah, I was kind of following you there, and then kind of helped you, maybe a little part getting you the tryout in Columbus their first year. I kind of gave you a heads up about the open tryout in Birmingham. Called Jerome, the head coach of the River Dragons, told him, hey, there's a goalie coming down. He's young, he needs a little molding, but he's a good kid. He's a good goalie, and he kind of took a liking to you, I guess.
Well, not a lot. I mean, they got rid of me after 7 days at camp or whatever it was. So clearly, they didn't like me that much. Quite the opposite, if anything.
Kind of got your foot in the door. Yeah, got your foot in the door a little bit in the pros, and you ended up. Well, tell us about your experience in Columbus. That little over a week you were there.
Yeah, Columbus was interesting because at the time I'd gone to the Birmingham free agent camp. And for those that don't know, the free agent camps, all SP teams and I believe most Fed teams host them. And it's just for a way for you guys want to get their name out there, get your foot in the door. You pay your $250, $300, whatever. You come skate for a couple of days, probably a weekend, 3-4 days. Good to network, good to build relationships. Probably not going to get a tryout out of it, but it is good to get your foot in the door and, like I mentioned, get your name out there. So I went to the Birmingham free agent camp, and shout out to Jay Krupp. I know he's your next guest for the next episode, but he actually sat beside me in the locker room at the Birmingham camp. And I remember, like, right away from talking to him, he just gave me, like, an off vibe, like something's up. Kind of like he had, he was asking a lot of, like, suspicious questions, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then at the end of camp, he says to me, hey, man, I'm actually, undercover player coach for Columbus. Would you like to come play for us? I'd like to sign you. And I was like, well, I appreciate it. I'm trying to play college hockey for this season and, finish my education, but I'd be more than interested and more than happy to come play for you if things don't work out. So things ended up not working out. Krupp sends the contract. We signed it and whatnot. The conversations were, I remember very clearly over the phone we talked about, hey, like, you're going to be the backup. We're here to invest. We're going to be, having you here for the full season. So just come in, relax, get acclimated, try to have a good training camp, and we're going to work with you here. It's going to be a good year. And I was like, okay, great, fantastic. So something felt a little bit off about that. And then I drove from Winnipeg to Columbus. So I drove 16 hours from Winnipeg to just the edge of the border between Illinois and Wisconsin. And then from there to Columbus, which is another 14, 15 hours. And so but an hour or two outside of Columbus before I got there, Krupp calls me and says, hey, there's a goalie coming down, getting sent down from the SP. I just want to let you know. Nothing's going to, influence, your positioning here. I just want to let you know. And obviously the two biggest lies in pro hockey are the checks in the mail, and you're only going down for 2 weeks. So the guy's only going to be here for a week. And, in fairness, didn't have the greatest of training camps. I had a knee injury that I talk about a lot, but I had a knee injury at the time, and, wasn't my best, wasn't what I could be. And they sent me home after, I want to say, might have been 5 days, might have been 7 days, something like that. I can't remember, to be honest. It was so many years ago, but that was basically the experience in Columbus. And I remember talking to Gary Gill after he had mentioned, he's like, hey, man, we'll find you a tryout somewhere else if you want. I was like, yeah, sure. And then, hang out for a day or two, nothing popped up. So took it in my own hands, started making some phone calls, and then went home after that. And that was the Columbus experience in a nutshell.
And from there, again, you went back to college, and I guess that didn't quite work out too well, either, did it?
I tried going back to college. I tried. Things in Columbus didn't work out. I wasn't really happy with how things were ran at my previous university at Vancouver Island in the BCIHL, the BC College Hockey League. And I remember sitting at home, middle of November at the time. My girlfriend, now ex-girlfriend, she had moved to VIU with me for college, and then we ended up going back to Manitoba because hockey didn't work out. She was a little upset with me at the time, and I remember her being upset that we're in the -30 freezing cold of winter in Winnipeg. So if you're an American, I don't know, maybe -5, maybe 0. And she said, I really wish we could go back to Nanaimo. I said, well, you know what? I got nothing going on. I got no team, nothing outside of YouTube. I'm going to drive 2 days to Nanaimo and go try to ask our head coach to give me an opportunity or pick me back, try to, apologize and whatnot. So I remember I ended up calling the head coach of the University of Manitoba Bisons, Mike Sarant, called him Spike. And I said, hey, Mike, I know you released me a couple months ago, but I'm going to be going back to VIU. I was wondering if you could write me a letter on your experiences with me and kind of tell that to the coach. And he wrote me this nice letter, full page on his experiences with me, very positive, I was actually kind of shocked how much detail he went into on that. So I printed that off, took that with me, drove the 2 days, the 2,500 kilometers to Nanaimo, across the plains, Alberta, BC, over the ocean to Vancouver Island, and going there, asking coach for a little bit of forgiveness for another opportunity, and didn't have anything to do with it. Really wouldn't even look me in the eye at the time. And I gave him the letter and I said, hey, I just want you to know that although that you may have your preconceived notions of me based on last season, I do believe I am a changed man, and I do think that this could work if you're open to it. I'm willing to make some sacrifices. Here's a note from the University of Manitoba Bisons U Sport, which is a higher level than here. Would you be open to it? And basically told me, see you later. And so that basically, all in all, ended whatever opportunity I had left in college. I wanted to hold out on that, but then obviously COVID came along and killed all Canadian college hockey for 2 years. So that's how the whole Sweden thing came to be, which led to being in Motor City this year.
I was going to ask you about that. How was Sweden?
It's the greatest 2 years of my life, the happiest 2 years of my life. From the hockey to the hockey culture to the life culture to the people. The women aren't half bad looking either. They're really good looking. The food's fantastic. Just everything about it, I missed it. It's the happiest time I've ever had in my life is the time that I spent in Sweden, both in the Stockholm area, going through the Gauntlet in Flemingsburg, just outside of Stockholm, and then last year just outside of Gothenburg on the west coast, which would be the Vancouver of Sweden, for the team I played for called Varberg. And I was really, really, really happy there. I was taken care of for the most part by everybody, and very few complaints. You're going to have a few complaints no matter where you go, but all in all, I was very, very, very happy with how things went.
I've always been very interested in hearing stories from players that, had the privilege to play overseas. I think it would just be really amazing to spend a year or two in a completely different country, different language, different everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Sweden changed my life, to be honest with you, from so many perspectives. I think just on a hockey basis of how different the game is in Europe compared to North America, it's a more east-west game. North America is north-south. Guys crash the net hard. They throw everything at the net. They will piss pump and shoot at you at any moment, but no notice at all in North America. In Sweden, they take a little bit more time. They make more passes. You got to stay more patient on your feet. You can't be giving away your feet for nothing and for nobody. And I think that, being a bigger guy and not having, the speed that maybe a Trevor Babin has, I think that really, really helped me in Sweden. And just on a, stats level, I think Babs and I are apples to oranges, but I think last year, his setup in Delaware and my setup in Sweden were very similar teams that give a lot of grade A opportunities, a lot of shots. I think on average I want to say 39, might have been 40 every single night on average. Most, if not all, were grade A every single night. And although the goals against the save percentage weren't great, the wins are what matter. We play the win games, obviously, and I won 75% of my starts. I had 75% of the team's wins altogether. And I ended up missing 3 months with a knee injury. So I think that was a very good experience there for tooling my game to that European style. And then also too, I went at a very unique time with COVID coming up, going from in Canada where things were a little bit nutty to say the least, to Sweden where the clubs were open, the malls had 10,000 people just shoulder to shoulder, and I'm like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Back home it's a little bit different, so that kind of opened my eyes up to some stuff. Like I mentioned, the food, fantastic. Never really had a bad meal there. Everything was always fantastic. The quality of the food too. just the way people live their lives. It's very different in North America. In North America, I think people are just taught to believe that North America is the be-all, end-all. Canada, the U.S., like we are the greatest ever. And in Europe, they don't have to say it. They generally believe it, and they don't have to tell anybody about it. And I think that just the way of life is just a lot more chill, a lot more easygoing, a lot more happy, less BS, and just like I mentioned, I've never been happier in my life than the 2 years I spent living in Sweden.
Sound like that they live quite humbly over there.
Extremely humbly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
It was awesome.
How'd you find your way to Detroit then, to Motor City?
Yeah, so how did I find my way to Detroit?
And why not the trip up to Port Huron instead?
Well, I guess that would have been up to the Jackie Moon of the Fed, Mr. Joe Pace, who I was just talking to earlier today. But so in Sweden from last year to this year, they passed a new rule to clean up Swedish hockey. We'll leave it at that. Obviously, I have some opinions on that. But so they changed import rules where to be an import, you have to be on a working visa. The team has to pay, apply, do all that kind of stuff, the travel insurance, all this stuff, transfer cards. And by the time you're all said and done, we're looking at about a $4,500 to a $5,000 investment, which is a lot of money. And when compared to a European where you can get for free, compared to the $5,000, it's going to be tough to convince a team of your value, especially when, whether you're in the Fed or in Europe, the budgets are so tight. So that basically killed off any options. And I mean, you look at all of Division II Sweden right now, there's only 2 import goalies with, I believe, close to 100 goalies in the league. So that just gives you an idea of how scarce imports are this year because of that. Hearing stories about guys applying for visas end of May, and they didn't come in until Halloween. So they get to Sweden, sometime in September, beginning of October, and they can practice, but they can't play until the visa is approved. And some guys even went over, the visa gets declined, and now they're sitting doing nothing. So very tough situation over there. My agent and I showed it to him, Adrian Soon at Import Sports. Been working with him for a little over 2 years now, coming up on 3. We knew it was going to be a little bit difficult to find an opportunity in Sweden, considering those circumstances, because teams aren't made of money. And to be honest, teams in minor pro are cheap, if we're being quite brutally honest. So when I think around end of June, might have been middle of June, came up, Adrian calls me and says, hey, fill out some player profiles on the Fed websites for all the teams, put your information on file, and then let me kind of go to work from there. And I remember I filled out applications for every single Fed team. It was a Sunday night, late Sunday night, probably around 9 or 10 p.m. Central Time. And then by 9 a.m. The following day, Nick Field, our GM in Motor City, hit me up and said, hey, I'd like to sign you. And to be honest, it kind of caught me by surprise, because I thought, first off, it's not even, business hours yet. How do you read through everything so quickly? And within a matter of 2 days, he just kept calling me. I wanted to make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and everything. But once we got that kind of squared away, signed, and the deal was, sign with me. I want your commitment. You can go anywhere in Europe you want. I just want you to commit to the Fed. I don't want you going anywhere else. And I said, deal. So, Mr. Field beat Joe Pace and, Matt Graham and Port Huron and everybody else to that signing, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
That's cool.
Yeah, we were glad to have you, the best starting right bench in the FPHL, right? And was that the running joke?
That is the running joke. Nobody opens the door faster, and I believe I still do lead the league in last pucks played. You have to double check on that one, but that's the job description, I guess.
Well, kind of tell us how your season was. You got that big game in Watertown. You got that big win at least off your chest. Yeah,
I guess there's 2 sides to it. Based on I've documented it on my podcast and the vlog. I get told stuff from management, and I take that as a holy gospel, and I run with it, and I share it, and then I try to go off that. So, opening before the season started, I was told, hey, you're going to be starting one of the first opening 3 games, and that ended up not happening. I did end up going in for a minute and 14 in the second game of the season. This is actually a little bit of a funny story. So we're playing in Port Huron for the second game. We lost the home opener to them. We're playing the second night on the Saturday. And it's, I want to say 2-2. It might have been 3-2 for them going into the third period. And Dalton J skates by our bench early third period, and he says, get warmed up. You're going in this period. We'll get you in there. He gives me a wink, and he skates away. And I thought, all right, well, we got a pretty good starting goalie, so I don't know how you're going to do that. And then a matter of minutes, it was 3-2, 4-2, 5-3, 6-3, and then with I think a minute, whatever left it was, they scored the 7th goal, and it was Dalton's goal actually in a breakaway, and Babs busted one of his sticks over the bar, and I believe he'd broken his other only stick earlier in the week at practice. So he only had one stick, smashed his sticks, and didn't have any left. And so he comes to the bench, and I'm looking around to try to get him a stick, because if he needs water, sticks, whatever, I try to accommodate and try to make life easy for him. Couldn't find a stick. Our trainer can't find a stick. And then coach looks at me and said, just go in. He doesn't have any sticks left. And so I guess because the team didn't order Babs sticks yet, or he didn't have any left and he broke a stick, they said I got to go in because he didn't want to use my sticks. And I got my minute 14 there. No saves, no goals. But so that was the first Fed taste, if you want to call it that. And then the 2 weekends after that, we got the road trip to Watertown, scratched for the first game, draw back in on the second night, backing up, and then I think it might have been 2 minutes, 3 minutes left in the third, or in the first period, whatever it was. A little bit of a line brawl. If you're in Watertown and you're paying your $10 for a ticket, you got your money's worth. You got a line brawl, goalie fight, everything in the first period. What more do you want? And then obviously, because you can only dress 2 goalies on any given night, they had no option but to put me in. So they had to put me in. So I looked at coach and said, yep. He says, yep, you're going in. Went into the net, and then obviously a little bit nervous. First real Fed experience. I did sink in early that, hey, I'm going to play the whole game, whether I give up 10 or I give up none. Like there's no other option, so might as well make the most of the next 42 minutes, whatever it is. First goal on the first shot, squeaker, a little bit nervous, but after that settled in, made some saves, made some quality saves, I felt. Still was very early on in the process of changing my game from accommodating that European style to bringing it back over to the North American style and finding what works, what doesn't. I saw a lot of things that did and didn't work that night in Watertown. I think game of the year, not just because of the brawls, but we had the lead 30 seconds in. 3 of the first 4 shots of the night went in for both teams, and it's 2-2, 2 minutes in. And then we didn't regain the lead. 3 minutes left in the third. We're up 7-6. Take 2 rather silly penalties. We're down 5-on-3. They pull the goalie 6-on-3 for, I think it was a minute and something. Might have been minute 1, minute 2, but they had a minute 6-on-3. And by the grace of God, we killed it off. Made 3 or 4 saves in the last minute. Grant Fuhr textbook goaltending. It doesn't matter if you give up 9, just make sure that they're giving up 10 and make one more save than the other guy. And that's, like I said, Grant Fuhr would be very proud. Textbook goaltending on his behalf, and we got the win. And that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun that night.
How do you handle that kind of pressure? The game's kind of depending on that puck not going in the net. Do you have anything that you coach yourself? Do you just zone out, or what is your go-to to get through those stressful moments?
Yeah, I think the Watertown fans actually did kind of help a little bit, because from the second I went in, I heard everything under the sun yelled at me through. I think there was a little hole in the glass, maybe that big behind the net on both sides. And I remember there was this one guy with a high-vis construction outfit, and he was yelling everything at me all night, and his buddies too, and everything from, things about my mom, my girlfriend, your YouTube vlog suck, I listen to your podcast, it's shit. Well, thanks for listening.
Damn.
It's everything. And Babs told me in the second intermission, as he was kicked out, he went to go get some hot dogs, and he says, I was walking back to the dressing room, during the play, and he said, I've never heard people yell the things at you or at me that they have for him. So I've never heard people so riled up about that. And I was like, I'm sure there were some people in Watertown, maybe they had a tough day at work, wife's going to leave them, marriages are in the shitter, and they finished work, they saw me go in, they said, you know what, I'm going to shit on this guy's day, I'm going to ruin his day, it's going to be a tough night for Trav, and so be it. There's even one guy, I skated the corner, and now I don't know if he had this prepared or if he had like a sign for Babs and then a sign for me if he flipped it, but I skated the corner and it says, go to hell, Trav. Little sign, probably about, I'm going to say a 6x6 sign, a little small sign. But I saw it and I read it. And I just saw it, looked down, went back to my crease, and then I got a message on Instagram the next day, and the guy messaged me, he's like, hey, Trav, do you happen to see a guy with a sign that said, go to hell? And I said, oh yeah, I saw it. And he's messaged me back and he says, that was my uncle. I got to apologize for that. I'm really sorry about that. I got a crazy uncle. I said, no, it's okay. It's funny. But to answer your question, I get so used to, people saying things online, people messaging me, emailing me, leaving comments, guys on the ice have their 2 cents, fans. None of it really makes a difference. And I've just kind of mentally bulletproofed myself to the point where you could literally say anything you wanted to me, and I really don't care. I've heard it all. So that doesn't bother me, and then it just allows me to just focus on the game of, I kind of play hockey. I don't want to get into fights or brawls. I know some guys live for that. I do that in the off season. I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and that's my fighting time. When it's in the season, I just want to stop pucks. I want to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm going to give 110% every single night and just try to make every single save. One save on to the next one, and try not to make mistakes, and try to practice the things that I know that I can do and that make me successful and ultimately win the team a game. And like I mentioned earlier, as long as I let in one less than the other guy, I think that's all that matters. It's not perfect. I mean, I think I gave 4 on 27 that night. Not great stats, but we got the win. And I guarantee you, if you ask any coach, they don't remember their goaltender save percentage. They remember wins. Was he a winner? Did he win games? That's what guys care about. And that's what I care about.
Yeah, I know we had a previous guest on your show that also was speaking about Watertown being a rough crowd to come by. I think it was Parker, I think we had, that was mentioning about the crowd in Watertown being all rowdy and kind of belligerent. So I guess you had a taste of the medicine too.
Yeah, that's true. I will say that, like, everything that, because I think it was the second game, because of the home opener the night before, so it was a pretty packed house. I'm going to just guess. I don't know what the numbers were, but I think they probably had maybe 600, maybe 700 people. I don't know. It was full. There wasn't a lot of room, so I'm assuming 600-700 people, and you name it, I heard it from them, and really just, like I said, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Say whatever you want. I'm here to play hockey. Hopefully you're entertained. I hope that you get your $10 worth, because I know you paid for the ticket. Yeah.
You're a crowd pleaser. There you go. A genuine crowd pleaser.
One of the highlights for me of that Watertown game was the guy behind your net in the third period building the pyramid of beer cups.
Yes, I remember that.
Crashing the glass and knocking that shit over. That had to feel so good.
Well, so specifically in the third period was when they really tightened up on me with every opportunity. Like, even during the play when I go for a skate, they were saying something, and I heard everything. I heard every single word. And so out of the corner of my eye, I did notice the beer can or the beer stack pyramid, and I thought to myself, don't look at them, don't acknowledge them, just focus on the game. And the second that clock hits 0 and we win, I'm going to do something about it. And so, also, like I mentioned, we killed that 6-on-3. And the second that horn goes, I turned around, I looked at the guy, and I jumped. All 210 pounds of me plus 50 of equipment, so all 260 of me into the glass. I knocked the whole can pyramid over clean in the broadcast. I know it looks like I broke the glass. Obviously, you couldn't hear it, but when the cans all fell over, I looked at the guy and I yelled at him, "Pick those up! Pick up those cans!" And then obviously we ended up celebrating. I don't know if he heard me. He probably didn't because it was so loud in the arena, but that was fun. It was fun.
But he knew. He knew.
Oh, he knew. He knew. Oh, that who laughs last laughs best, and I think that I had the last laugh that night.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you.
You talked about that on your podcast. That was classic.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lee.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anna. Go ahead.
Oh, you're okay. No, I wanted to ask you, I'm actually a billet. I know we've talked about it on the show before, but I billet for 2 juniors, and one is a goalie. And I know it sounds like he's got some pretty similar injuries that you do, and he's only 18. So can you tell us about your injuries and, like what your body's had to endure over the years?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know where to begin. Well, I'm getting hip surgery next week, as mentioned before we started recording here. But so I have what's called cam hip impingement, and it's basically like on the femur bone. There's a massive growth on the outside, and it's the body's defense mechanism against goaltending for that internal rotation. And so that bone growth happens, and it basically makes it impossible to get into like a goaltending position of the reverse VH or butterfly, any of those types of things, because you have this bone growth in my hip just like banging all the time, and you physically can't get around it. So it's very common. Well, it's common in hockey players. It's very common in goalies. It's extremely common in goalies that are my size, 6'5". And it could be a combination of I've been this big since I was like 14, 15 years old. I grew so fast, the body had to compensate with these cam lesions or these growths on my my femur, and a bunch of wear and tear. But it's a very common in goaltenders, and I don't think goalie coaches realize how common it is and the damage that they're doing to their students and their athletes by drilling in. We need to do 1,000 reps of practice. I got to give a shout out to my goalie coach, Pascal Vallon in Vancouver. One of and also Steve McKeegan in Toronto. But one of the best things for my career was starting to just accept that we're going to do quality over quantity. We don't need to do 10,000 reps. We just need to get 10 or 15 that are good, call it a day, and then we move on. It's as simple as that. It saved a lot of mileage off the hips, even though the damage was already done a long time ago. But I think that a lot of goalie coaches need to get that message, and hopefully over the next couple of months of documenting my journey with the hip surgery, that message will get across the community that we are destroying our athletes, and hopefully we can stop doing that. And that that hip surgery is a long recovery. It's a 6-month recovery. Like when I get that surgery next week, I won't be skating until June, maybe even July. So you're using up a lot of time, and you're going to waste part of the season doing it. Or waste is maybe a little bit strong of a word, but it's a big commitment to get that fixed. And because I didn't have the time to get it fixed, you end up compensating. I compensated, through my knee, and the knee injuries started happening. And then when the knee injuries started happening, I just got so out of control, specifically bursitis. And the bursitis is the muscles getting so tight that the bursa sac, which is like a fluid sac that kind of helps everything kind of like move on top of the knee, gets so inflamed, and there's so much pressure that builds in it that, again, I can't even get into that butterfly position. I can't do anything that I need to do to become a goaltender. And as of this moment, in the last 13 months, I haven't been able to skate one time without steroid injections, and also cortisone. Cortisone is this magical cure-all problem to all my injuries. But when it runs out, because it only lasts for about 2 to 4 months, depending on how effective it is or isn't. When it runs out, and you can't do anything about it. So I have run out of the magic. I've gotten 3 cortisone shots in the last 13 months. You're only supposed to get 4 lifetime max because it does a lot of damage to the knee. And at this point, for anybody listening, the hip surgery is one thing that has to get fixed. The knee issues should sort themselves out once the hip is fixed, and then the whole chain is back in running order. But I do worry about the long-term effects of the steroids that I took. I wish I didn't take them, but it was at the time what was best for my career to get me in the position that I am now, being in the Fed, having some eyeballs on me, and having teams wanting to trade for me because they see some value from me.
You had mentioned how you were almost traded for a steak dinner and a hotel stay.
Yes, there was a team in the league. I can't say which, but I do know which team. And they made 3 separate trade offers for me. Each were declined. And the final offer was the full hotel stay next time Motor City went to that town, and then a steak dinner for our GM, coach, and ownership group. So that's the value that I have on the market. So if any other Fed teams are listening, you better be real willing to offer up a free hotel stay and a steak dinner if you want to acquire me, because that's the asking price for Motor City Rockers, so I'm told.
You're the price of filet mignon. There you go.
I was going to say, it better be a top cut.
Now, they didn't say what cut. They also didn't say, was it a twin bed, a queen bed room, but I'm assuming it's the 2 twins. And it might be outside round or eye of round cut. I don't think we're getting fillets or ribeyes or sirloin or even like a New York strip, but I do believe that the asking price is in that ballpark.
Well, hopefully the Feds are bed bug free.
They didn't say if it was Longhorn or Golden Corral.
No, they didn't mention any specifics. I was just told a steak dinner and a hotel stay, and the rest is open to interpretations.
So Ramada or Hilton, we just don't know.
Yep, yeah, it's one of those two. I don't know either, but it is one of those two.
Or paid by the hour somewhere.
That was in the future considerations.
Oh,
all of a sudden you're like in your room.
Yeah, so, like I said, they didn't say Golden Corral, Longhorn, Outback.
No, so I'll tell you what, it wasn't the Columbus River Dragons. They didn't make an offer, but if it was, I'm sure it would have been at the Golden Corral, because that's where they send most. Well, in my experience, where guys went for dinner. So no Golden Corral with the Columbus River Dragons.
If it was
Golden
Columbus
Corral
River
or
Dragons,
Waffle
it would have been Waffle House.
Waffle
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing Scott Brand will trade you for is a dinner at Waffle House. It would be a Waffle House steak.
That were a PBR. He likes his PBR.
Could be a team bus. I mean, there's lots of options to trade him for.
So, what does your future look like? Your prognosis after, rehabbing after surgery, and are you still looking at a good long career?
Oh yeah, I'm not retiring anytime soon. I've been getting a lot of messages lately. People think that I'm retiring. Yeah, give your head a shake. I'm not retiring. I got lots of mileage left in the tank. I just got to get some. I got to go into the shop for a little bit of mechanical work, and it would sound like I'm bringing in a Corolla into the shop, but got to get fine tuned a little bit and fix this issue. And once it gets fixed, I think that there's lots of mileage left in the tank, and I can truly become the goaltender that I want to be. Because on top of the injuries and just generally staying healthy, I'm compensating my game, and I'm not able to give my full self and what I want to become and do what I want to do because of these injuries. So I think that when I do get healthy, when the first 3 weeks are going to be like bedridden on crutches and not really doing much. First 2.5 months are going to be just recovering from the actual surgery. I mean, they're punching 4 holes in my hip, knives, cameras, saws, everything in there. They're going to be shaving off bone and taking all this stuff, fixing my labrum, touching up the cartilage. It's a messy job that they got to clean up. But when it is done and I'm recovered, I do expect to have a small off season. From April until about June is going to be just getting back my range of motion and getting back to becoming an athlete. Hopefully skating end of June, beginning of July, and then 100%, hopefully, end of July, beginning of August, and then from there until September 1st is my window that I'm allotting for my off season and progress, if you want to call it that. Reason being is I don't know what's happening next year with Motor City. I mean, they have me on season-ending IR, and they've elected not to pay out the rest of my contract, but they are holding my rights, which is a part of the season-ending IR. So I don't know if I'll be going back there, if they have interest in keeping me, if I'll get picked up in the expansion draft, if somebody's going to trade for me, or if I'm going to go back to Europe. I mean, my agent and I, we have an idea of what we want to do, but I'm not going to tell you exactly that right now for obvious reasons. But
Right.
the goal is to be ready for September 1st, so that I'm ready if that happens. And if I get an extra month to prepare for Fed season, so be it. Then we have a 2-month off season, which is great. But as long as I'm healthy, I think that just being healthy and having the hip and knee issues fixed is going to be an off season in itself. I can make no gains. I think that alone is a life-changing gain.
Right.
Okay, I remember last season in one of your vlogs, you did this thing where you tied weights around you, dropping into butterfly. Do you think that might have aggravated the injury in the long term?
Not in the long term. The injury was there. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back at that moment in time. Because the injury had been kind of like hanging around, lingering for a while, and that just brought it out. Stupid to put weights on during a training session? Yeah, absolutely. Ridiculous idea. I don't know why I did it, but it was very well intended and just didn't work out. So yeah.
I think it's great that it sounds like you have a positive outlook. I think having goals and just something to fight for is going to help mentally, at least with surgery and rehab. And I know that you don't have an easy road ahead of you. So I just want to wish you the best of luck on that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, it's going to, like you mentioned, it's going to be very difficult, especially I'm going to be so hopped up on drugs the first week. I probably won't even know my name. To be quite frank,
that's all right.
There's going to be a lot of pain, I mean, for Christ's sakes, they're taking a saw and they're shaving off part of my femur, which is crazy they can do that. But so that's going to be tough. The first couple of weeks, not being able to do a lot. I'm a very purpose-driven person. I need to have a purpose. I need to be doing something. So that's going to be very difficult as well. I think that not skating won't be too terrible. I think just not being in chronic pain all the time is going to be like a big victory. I think that from the goalies that I've talked to that have had this surgery, as physically helpful as it has been, the mentally freeing aspect of I don't have this lingering problem all the time. I don't have this like problem I have to babysit 24/7. It's like I just cleaned up the house 10 minutes ago. Can we keep it clean for like 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes, please. It's what it feels like sometimes. But that I think the mentally freeing part I think is going to be the big one, and that will hopefully come March or April, and then after that I think it should be smoother sailing. But the end goal is to be playing for next season, whoever it is for. I generally believe that although the management in Motor City maybe don't believe in me as much as I believe that they should, I think that only I know what I'm capable of, and I have information up here that nobody else does, and I know what I truly can become. I mean, in my biased opinion, a 6'5" goaltender with a little bit of game experience. When I get that, in the sense of 3 to 5 games, to make some mistakes, to make some changes, and make some accommodations to my game based on the Fed level or wherever I go, I think that I can become a top 3 goalie in the Fed, no problem. And whether it's, Columbus, if Motor City ends up moving on, I think that those are 2 teams that are going to look at their decision and say, we made a mistake. We didn't see his full value, and whoever does pick up on that, whether it's in the expansion draft, whether Motor City wants to give me another chance, whether it's in Europe, wherever it is, someone's going to be really happy with the finished product they have in September, October. And I'm just looking forward to proving that and showing people that I can be a damn good goalie and be a dominant goalie under the right circumstances with the right opportunity.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in your, future here in the next year and all that stuff. And I hope you prove everybody wrong, which I think you will, which is very awesome. But if you want, you said you're going to be hopped up on medication the first week afterwards. If you want, we can all send you a text just to let you know what your name is, so you don't forget your name. Okay? We'll just send you a name. Your name is Travis. Don't forget that.
Starting grade bench for the Port Huron Motor City Rockers.
There you go. No, we'll send you pictures too, like GIF images, whatever, the logo and all that stuff. Be like, here you go. This is what you are, what you did, and if you have to, we'll send you your YouTube videos to remind you who you are. You can watch it your own self. Be like, oh yeah, that's who I was. There you go.
Well, I appreciate you guys looking out for me.
Yeah.
No problem.
I think that
we're gonna get a nice vlog of the surgery. A nice in-depth video.
I'm trying hard.
Yes.
I'm trying to push the surgeon to give me access to the video because legally they have to record the whole surgery for insurance purposes, and if anything goes wrong, I'm trying to get my hands on a copy of the video. I don't know if they're going to give it to me. The surgeon said we could work something out. I don't know if that means pictures of the whole surgery. I'll get something out of it, but I'm trying to get something out of it. There will be my plan is moving forward. Once a month, I'm going to do an update vlog on how the recovery is going, my range of motion, my rehab, the program, how I'm feeling, all these kind of things. And it's going to be a 6 to 8 month road back to pro hockey recovery series. And hopefully people can watch that and enjoy it. I know it's not going to be the same exciting stuff in the Fed Zeno with the guys going to the casino and blowing all their checks, collecting cans and the brawls and whatnot. But this is a very key point in my life coming up. And I hope that, people enjoy it and we'll see the changes being made that will enable me to be successful after the surgery happens and I get an opportunity next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely be following. I know most of us here will, and hopefully our viewers and your viewers will be able to watch you heal. And maybe in a few months when you're feeling better, you can check back in with us and kind of give us a little update on how everything's going.
Absolutely. Hey, well,
and maybe we can do a podcast over a steak dinner or something like that. We have like an old fancy steak dinner and have a little podcast over a steak. There you go.
Hold on, guys. I can't hear you. I'm busy cutting my steak. I'm busy cutting my filet mignon. You'll have to give me a minute.
There you go. Let me enjoy my mashed potatoes, right?
Oh, and the waiter's coming back with dessert. One sec, though, guys. On a serious note, I just want to say that thank you for being concerned and for all the support. Anytime I'm happy to hop on the podcast. I mean, you guys all watch the vlogs, you listen to the podcast, you support what I do. So I feel indebted to give you something back in return for your support. So anytime you want me on the podcast, I'm happy to come back and do a little update conversation with you.
I'll have to send you a friend request too. So
done and done.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Especially for Lee.
I hope you.
So we got a couple more minutes here. So
go ahead.
Kind of, yeah. So could you kind of tell us here the last couple minutes? First off, how you got into YouTube making money, and any advice you would give to somebody who's trying to get into vlogging, especially like sports vlogs.
Yeah, so I started making YouTube videos. Goalie montages are my favorite NHL goalies, like years ago. Like we're talking 10 years ago, and I did that for a couple of years. Got a couple thousand subscribers, wasn't a lot. They weren't original videos. I wasn't proud of them, so I said, I want to help people. I want to share my love for goaltending and equipment. I'm going to make goaltending gear reviews. And so I did that. Slowly started implementing the on-ice footage, the voiceovers, adding my voice, my face, all these kind of things. The Mic'd Up series came out. And then one day, when I was at VIU, I just remember thinking to myself, hockey's kind of crazy. I live this like reality TV style life. I might as well film it so that when I tell people what's happened, I can be like, here's the evidence. Look at it. So I just shared it out of passion. I thought it was a cool way to share my life. I thought it was a cool concept to share my passion for film, for videography, for cinematography, for all these types of things in video and on YouTube that I'm passionate about. to be honest, I never did it for the money. I remember my first ever YouTube paycheck for $20. It was $20.50. And I thought I was the richest man in the world. I just made $20 for all my years of hard work on YouTube finally. And it was kind of a sign that things were going well. And then out of college, I remember cranking out like 5 videos a week, every week for like 2 months straight. And I just was grinding over that, trying to grow the channel. And then after that, I went through a period for 18 months. So for a year and a half, where I did 3 videos every single week, no exceptions. There was a 2-week span where I only did 2 videos. I can't remember what the reason was, but for the most part, for a year and a half, 3 videos every single week. And that commitment and people knowing that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there was a new video at the same time, same place. You know what to expect. I think that helped a lot. I think my passion for film, my passion for hockey helped a lot. And I think, too, what a lot of people miss is that, that they see the 90,000 subscribers or whatever it is now that I have. And that's great and all. But I've always been myself. I've always been honest. I've always been blunt. I've always just called it how it is. I think that in today's world, people see a big highlight reel, which is great. I'll share the great moments and the highlights when they happen, but I'll be damned if I don't show you the bad stuff too, because the reality is we're not all Connor McDavids, and we're not these superstars where it's just a straight trajectory up. The reality is it's up, it's down, it's down, it's up, it's 2 forward, 1 back, 1 forward, 2 back. It goes all the way up and down, and it's very inconsistent, especially in minor pro, in the Fed Zeno, in the SPHL, Europe, everywhere. Like there are so many guys in the Fed that live the same life and live the same career path that I have. And the only difference between me and them is that I know how to work a camera and I know how to put it on the internet. It's the only difference. So I think that it's very relatable for 95% of the hockey world, because this is where 95% of us fall into. The other 5% are, the cream of the crop in regards to not really facing a lot of adversity. And I think that that's why, it's gravitated with a lot of people. If I was restarting today, I don't know if I'd be able to have the success that I have, because I started early when nobody was doing this. Nobody was vlogging hockey. Nobody was really making original hockey videos for the most part of the time either in 2015 when I started. So I was definitely cutting edge and ahead of the time when I did it. I don't think I'm cutting edge and ahead of the time now. I was just the first to do it. And I think that if you have a passion for it, it'll shine through and people will gravitate to it. If you make something good, you genuinely love it, people will see that, it shines through, they'll stick with you. If you're like some of the other people out there in the hockey community doing it for money, people see that as well, and the viewership will dwindle, and you will eventually go out of business because you're not problem solving and entertaining and educating people. You're trying to piggyback off them and try to make as much money as you can. And don't get me wrong, we all need to make money. We all got to stay afloat. We got to pay for dinner. We got to pay for filet mignon dinners when you're trading for a third string Fed goalie. But the reality is that it won't be sustainable long term, I don't think.
That's cool. Taylor, do you have anything to say?
I'm sorry that my phone kept, cutting in and out. We love technology here, but I'm from what I've gathered, you've had a few speed bumps along the way with injuries and whatnot, a few bumps in the roads. It seems like the recovery is going to go well. You have a positive mindset. You're going to go. You can only go as far as you're willing to go within your own mind and your willpower. As far as Motor City, please don't say Elias Thompson. Who is your goon, so to speak, that you truly depended on, like your underrated goon that like the guys on the team fear?
I think Babin, to be honest with you. Like he's a good friend of mine. I was just FaceTiming him a couple of days ago, just checking in and seeing how things are going. I don't think he'll mind if I said this, but he's got such a short fuse. I've seen him break 4 or 5 sticks over the bar this season, just over overtime winning goals, or guys just hitting him in the face in practice, or just because he didn't like the stick, or whatever the case may be. But I think guys are genuinely afraid of him because they don't want him to snap on them. I've never seen him snap on me. I don't know if maybe I just I bring out the best in him, or maybe I calm him down. I don't know. Maybe he just holds it in. But I do think that he is the most feared in the team, if we're being quite honest.
He's breaking stick to stack firewood for he's putting firewood for the year.
Winter's coming to Motor City.
Yes.
Tommy Cardinal, he actually come from Carolina, and from what I've gathered, That dude's just an absolute nutcase. Like, he zero fear, psychopath, ready to freaking fight anybody. Like, he's
I think that generally speaking, to play in the Fed Xeno for $125 a week, to put your life on hold, to put your family on hold, you do 4 years of university or college or even junior, you're in debt for student loans, and instead of settling down with the girlfriend, getting a real job, starting life, to play in the Fed Xeno, I think there's a very specific breed of person that's willing to do that, and obviously all of them are in the league to an extent. I'd probably say 75% of them, and of that demographic that is the Fed, and even the SP to an extent, I think that part of that is you're willing to fight anybody at any point in time. You got a little bit of a short fuse, a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, and a lot of guys do fall into that category. I don't know why. I personally get my fighting experience over the summer doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 3 days a week, and I love it. But when I show up to the rink, I'm not looking to get into fights or brawls. If something happens and somebody grabs me and something pops off, yes, I will have no choice but to do something and engage. But I'm not looking for it because I come to stop pucks, and that's what I enjoy. And let's be honest too. You don't, for the most part, you're not getting paid for fights. You get paid to stop pucks and wins. Teams will pay for wins. They won't pay for fights.
But how badass would it be to see a jiu-jitsu takedown by a goalie? I would scream. I'm telling you.
When Babs and I were talking the other day over FaceTime, he says, I can't remember if it was his dad in the background who mentioned someone, or it might have been him. But we mentioned something about like next season, and he says, I'll miss you, buddy. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I said, would you be looking forward to it if it was me coming down from the other end towards you? And he says, what did you just say to me? And I said, you heard me. And he says, Trav, why would you say that? And I said, well, let's be honest. Let's call it for what it is. You and I both know stuff that the general public does not. And there's a good chance that you and I would be on different teams next season and staring at each other down if that was the case. And I said, if you act the way that you do and you do the things that you do, I love you. But my team at that point in time would probably tell me, Trav, you have to go do something. And now, do I want to fight you? Not really. I don't really want to fight anybody. Would I skate to center ice and ask you to come chat and come catch up? Absolutely. Maybe I'll ask you how the summer's going. But I think the fans would enjoy that. Even if we didn't throw it down, we just took a knee at center and we just had chatted it out, grabbed a water or a cup of Joe, or grab a nice coffee, Americano, be good. But, yeah.
So you're saying no Travis hip toss or anything like that?
Anything's game in the Fed Xeno. It is the wild, wild west where there are no rules. And when somebody's coming at me looking to hurt me and take out my teeth, I'm going to do everything and anything I can to hurt them. It is maximum violence, 0 to 100 real quick. But ideally not. But if the situation calls for it, yes, Lee. Yes, the hip toss will come.
Well, we appreciate this, man. I appreciate you coming on here kind of last minute for us. We will gladly have you back on, maybe sometime in the summer, get an update on your recovery and how your comeback with the Travis Ridgen comeback tour.
Absolutely, man. And hopefully give you a good interview, and people listening enjoyed it, and it was fun. Like I said, anytime you guys want me back, you send me a message, let me know, and I'm happy to come on the podcast anytime.
Thank you so much. You've been awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Get better soon. We'll have a flame in a week for you.
Yeah, best wishes on surgery. Good luck.
There you go. Bye now.
Bye.
Well, we appreciate that, Travis. Another great episode in the books. Another great interview. And again, we got to thank him for coming in literally last minute. Jay was supposed to be on today, gets called up to the SPHL, and Travis didn't hesitate immediately. He's like, "Yeah, I'll be your fill-in, of course."
Amazing.
Yeah, great guy. Great guy.
So appreciative. So, yeah.
So another big story this week was, and we are we're not again patting ourselves on the back. Our podcast broke the news that Ryan Marker is finally free from the clutches of the Delaware Thunder.
Let's just clap for him, because I know that it's been a bit of a struggle. I don't know if everybody knows the background, but to hell with the negative. I'm so happy for him and his family that they get to move on to a place that I think is going to be a way better fit for them. They're going to be treated better, and if you guys are watching, best wishes to you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, Elmira's a big upgrade from Delaware.
Yeah.
Even though the logo is kind of weird, but yeah.
I think for an episode we might have to. What do we call it?
Maybe
I can print them out.
The uterus.
In Euro, yeah, exactly. Sounds like a Nirvana cover or something like that.
Yeah, maybe for an episode we can maybe rate the logos, the mascots. That might be kind of a fun little segment. Maybe even get like the fans on the Trash Talk page and the fans in the comments. Maybe you guys can, we'll set up a poll and you can vote and we can kind of see what you guys think.
Yes, I like it.
Sounds like a fun end of the year award.
Yeah. Oh, I can't even wait till we start giving out awards. I know when we did it on our Trash Talk page, people were some were loving it and other people were like, well, that's bullshit. It should have been. So, which is great. We want to hear from you guys. So, maybe we can even do a call in or two.
Last year doing that.
Yeah.
Do we have to dress
that was
up?
Great. Hell, why not? I'm always down to dress up.
All right, so I got to wear a suit and tie.
On my polo shirt.
I'll break out my wedding outfit.
We'll give out the Fetties. I guess we can call the award the
Fetties.
There you go. That'll be a fun episode.
It has been named.
Yeah.
It has been
that'll be a good episode.
Named it.
Yep. Yep. Well, another good episode in the books, guys. This is what, 9? Another good one. We got Anna. You've got us a great guest for next week.
Yes, everybody. We have Ian White coming on, which I'm sure all of you already know his whole, what he brings to the table. Former NHL player for multiple teams, and he was amazing when he played for the Dragons. And as sad as we were to see him go, he's going to kick ass on any team that he's on, and I'm super stoked to have him on the show.
Yay.
All right, guys. Well, with that being said, thank you for joining us.
Leader on and off the ice.
Yes.
But yeah, shout out to our producer because again, we couldn't do it without him.
Absolutely not. Hell no. At the time and effort he 100%. Makes for additional work, he's a godsend. Thank you. You hear me up there?
Thank you, Nerdly. Right. You rock. All right, guys. So we're going to let you go, but thank you for joining us. We just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Chattahoochee Valley Warriors. They're an organization that helps veterans get into hockey. So there's them. And then also Pred TV. Make sure you like and follow them. They get predators off the street that are, chasing underage people. It's absolutely disgusting. What some of the people out, you just would be surprised at the people that they've caught. So make sure you check them out.
And Enchanted Coffee Co-op too. There you go. And that's it. Good.
Yep. Make sure you check out Enchanted Coffee.
Pro Hockey News podcast.
And that's yes. Oh, we're getting more people. Wow. We're adding. Yeah,
and please subscribe and share, guys. I don't want to be one of those people that hounds it, but we want to hang out with you guys. We want y'all to come hang out with us. So yeah, hit the like button and maybe share it with a friend or family member that might enjoy our kind of kooky content. So yeah, it's been real, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Strong from the